Hi everyone, it's Rax bringing you another build guide for Season 21. This is the Corpse Explosion Necro. This build is amazing. I actually leveled up 1 to 70 with the Corpse Explosion Necro, and I did it in 1 hour and 4 minutes solo, so I'll upload that and show you how fast that was. And in the footage you're about to see, I opened a GR 120, and I absolutely decimated it. So after that, I put in all my 7,000 Paragon points and I opened 140, and on my first key I almost cleared that as well. So this is going to be one of the best solo builds in the entire game, and I think it's so fun. You're going to see when I fight the Guardian, I just obliterate the Guardian in the blink of an eye. Let me take you through and show you how to put this together. So this is a Legacy of Dreams build. The gem Legacy of Dreams means if we have no set bonuses, every single ancient or primal ancient that we wear is going to give us 750% increased damage and 4% reduced damage taken. So we're not going to use any set items, and we're going to try to have every piece either ancient or primal ancient for major damage and major damage reduction. For the weapon, we have Trag'Oul's Corroded Fang. The Curse Scythe rune for Grim Scythe has a 100% chance to apply a curse, and we're going to deal 200% increased damage to cursed enemies. We want curses everywhere. We're going to be swinging our scythe all the time, so this is the weapon that we want. For the stats on this build, it's all the usual suspects: damage, crit, cooldown, area damage, attack speed. All of it is very good. Cooldown is especially good because we are going to be dealing damage when our Land of the Dead is up, so having as much cooldown as possible will let us fire that more often. Damage, area damage, and cooldown would be the best here, and we're going to sock it with a crit hit damage gem, and we're going to augment our entire character with intelligence for more damage. For the offhand, we will go for Iron Rose. Now, Iron Rose and Bone Ringer are both good for different reasons. Iron Rose gives you a free Blood Nova when we siphon blood, and we will be siphoning blood to stay alive and activate our Mantle of Channeling. So this gives us a free Blood Nova. You could also take Bone Ringer, and Bone Ringer is nice because you don't have to have the intelligence roll. You could get cooldown, the quadfecta, if you are lucky enough to find that. So we'll go for Iron Rose here. Intelligence, crit, area damage, and Corpse Explosion is what we're looking for. For the boots, we want Ice Climbers, because Ice Climbers make us immune to the Stone Gauntlet debuff. It's going to let us be super tanky. Int, Vit, All Resistant Armor is what we're looking for. For the pants, we want Swampland Waders. These are the only pants in the game that can roll poison elemental damage. The way that you will get them is make a level 1 Witch Doctor and upgrade pants, upgrade rare in the cube, and then you will get the Swampland Waders. That's how to get them. They're typically only drop on a Witch Doctor. Poison, Int, Vit, and Armor is what we're looking for, and I would recommend socketing with either rubies or emeralds because it gives you armor to help you stay alive. For the ring, we will take Crispin Sentence. This is in every damage-dealing Necro build ever. We deal 100% increased damage against slowed enemies, or triple the bonus against enemies affected by anything else. We're going to be freezing everything and stunning everything, so we're going to get that 300% damage bonus. Attack speed, crit, and area damage is what we're looking for. For the other ring, Convention of the Elements, another ring that we're all very familiar with. Crit area damage. When poison rolls around, we're going to deal 200% increased damage. And for here, we'll take Bane of the Stricken so we can kill the Guardian. For the belt, Dainty's Binding, we get 50% damage reduction if there's an enemy impacted by one of our curses. We're going to be cursing everything with Grim Scythe, especially with our Trag'Oul's Fang, so it's a free 50% damage reduction. Int, Vit, Life, and Armor is what we want. For the gloves, we have the buffed Grasp of Essence. When an exploded corpse damages at least one enemy, your Corpse Explosion deals 200% increased damage for 6 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Major multiplier for Corpse Explosion, we must have this. Crit, area damage, and cooldown is what we're looking for. Now, for Grasp of Essence, you could instead cube that and wear Stone Gauntlets. The problem is it's so hard to get a pair of quad Stone Gauntlets, especially when they only drop on strength classes. So for that reason, it's probably easier to find a pair of Grasp of Essence than the Stone Gauntlets, but you can mix and match them any way that you want. For the shoulders, we have Mantle of Channeling. While we're channeling Siphon Blood, we deal 25% increased damage and take 25% less damage. We'll channel that right before we hit to get that 25% damage increase on our initial hit. Int, area damage, cooldown, and Corpse Explosion is what we want. For the helm, Leorc's Crown is going to double the effect of our gem. We're going to put a cooldown gem in and have massive cooldown for our Land of the Dead. Int, Vit, and Crit is what we want. For the Aquila chest, we want Int, Armor, and Corpse Explosion. As long as we're above 90% resource, we have our damage reduced by 50%. The funny thing about this build, we have nothing that costs Essence. So you will always be at full Essence, so you'll always have that 50% damage reduction. For the amulet, we will take Johnstone. Poison, Crit, Crit is what we want. When we activate Land of the Dead, afterward, we're going to get 50 stacks, and our next 50 corpse explosions are going to deal 200% increased damage. So as we keep activating land, every time after that first land, we should have those 50 stacks whenever we attack. And we're going to sock it with Bane of the Trapped for more damage. One thing you could do at super low Paragon levels, if you're having trouble surviving, you could drop Bane of the Trapped for Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. And that would give you massive life per second, and it would give you the Absorb Shield. I tried this initially, and then I took it out for Bane of the Trapped, and then I had absolutely no problem surviving without the Molten Wildebeest. So try it with Trapped first and see how it feels, and if you're feeling like you're dying, then switch to Molten Wildebeest. And finally, for the bracers, we will take Nemesis bracers. When we click on pylons, we're going to get an elite to come out of it. It helps with things like power and conduit, but the real reason why we take Nemesis bracers is so we can nem something by the Rift Guardian, so we can use the area damage to kill him. Poison, Int, Crit, and Armor is what we're looking for. Now on to the skills. Land of the Dead Frozen Lands. This is simple. Whenever we activate this, it's not only going to freeze everything and activate our Crispin Sentence, but we need to activate Land of the Dead so we can use our Corpse skills as much as we want in 10 seconds. We're going to activate it at the start of our Poison Convention of the Elements and then nuke everything with Corpse Explosion. Next, we will take Siphon Blood Power Shift. We take Siphon Blood so we can get the free Blood Novas, and also so we can get our Mantle of Channeling buff right before we activate our Land of the Dead and blow everything up with Corpse Explosion. The reason we take the Poison Rune is because we have Nayer's Black Death in the cube. Every poison skill that we use increases the damage of the other poison skills by 100% for 15 seconds. So you're going to notice that Siphon Blood, Corpse Explosion, Bone Armor, and Grim Scythe are all poison skills, so we can get a 400% multiplier. Corpse Explosion, Close Quarters, we take the poison one because it deals massive damage, and so we can get the Nair stack. This is what does all of our damage. Bone Armor, Dislocation. Bone Armor is going to keep us alive. The Dislocation rune is the poison one. We actually don't need the stun because we're going to get a 10-second freeze. So I like to cast Bone Armor very early in my rotation. That way the monsters can recover from the stun. And then when I hit them with this freeze, they'll be frozen for the full 10 seconds. That way I can just wail on them as much as possible. Grim Scythe, Curse Scythe. We need this to apply our curses for our Dainty's Binding buff and also for our 200% for our Trag'Oul's Fang. We'll be using this all the time to curse everything, again with the Poison Rune. That way we can have the Nair stack. And finally, we need Blood Rush Potency so we can move around and get to the Oculus Rings. Potency is going to increase your armor by 100%. Remember, we don't have Illusory Boots, so when we're surrounded by monsters, we're going to hit and then Blood Rush to the Oculus Ring to deal more damage. And now on to the passives. Spreading Malediction, we get 1% damage bonus for every enemy impacted by one of our curses. We're going to curse everything with our Scythe. It's a big damage increase. Blood is Power. After we lose 100% of our health, it's going to reduce the cooldown of Land of the Dead by 20%, so we can fire more Corpse Explosions. Standalone, we have no pets, so it's a free 100% armor. And finally, Eternal Torment. Our curses last forever. In the cube, we already discussed this. Nayer's Black Death for all the poison skills is going to give us a 400% multiplier. Stone Gauntlets is going to give us massive survivability once we get hit. Remember, we're immune to all the bad stuff listed here because of Ice Climbers. And finally, Unity is going to make us take half damage. At the end of the season, if you want to squeeze out a bit more damage, you can actually make one change. You can get rid of Unity for Flavor of Time. And if you get Flavor of Time, then make sure that you wear it if you can get a good one, because it's going to give you a 4th stat that Johnstone doesn't have. So we'd be looking for Poison, Crit, Crit, cooldown, and we'd just put Johnstone in the cube. Otherwise, it's the exact same build. And if we wanted to do some metas, we will take Squirts so we can get double damage instead of the Flavor of Time. We'll take Ancient Parthon Defenders, or very commonly called APDs, so that way we can stay alive when we're ready to deal damage, because every stunned enemy around us makes us take 12% less damage the barb can stun for us. Instead of Stricken, we'll take Pain Enhancer so we can get massive attack speed. We don't need Stricken, we're not killing the boss. For the boots, we will take Illusory Boots instead of Ice Climbers, because the Barbarians Ignore Pain will already make us immune to the bad effects of Stone Gauntlets. So we'll take Illusory Boots so we can move freely. And finally, we don't need Blood Rush anymore, so we'll take Death Nova Blight. And we will switch our Land rune to the Poison rune for an extra Nair stack. For T16, it's all about speed. We don't need Trag'Oul's Scythe anymore. We can just take Ingeom, which are going to reset our cooldowns for 10 seconds after we kill an elite. The shoulders and the offhand, you can take whatever you want. You could use the same Mantle of Channeling or Iron Rose. You could take Razzus with Bone Ringer. Anything works here. We do not need to get the free Blood Novas or anything like that, and we're not going to take Siphon Blood. So really anything works there. We will take Avarice Band with Boon of the Hoarder. This is going to give us movement speed and pick up all the gold for us and give us a gigantic radius for that. Gold Wrap is going to make us immortal once we pick up gold. We'll take the Stewart's Greaves boots just to move faster after we Blood Rush. And we only need Corpse Explosion and Land. And then Bone Armor we can take just to move faster. Blood Rush we take to move faster. We'll take Aura of Frailty around us, so as we zip around, everything's just going to die. And finally, if for some reason you can't bring back your land fast enough, Decrepify Borrowed Time will give you 1% CDR for every enemy cursed. From the passes, we'll pick up Fueled by Death, so whenever we consume a corpse, we're going to get more movement speed. We'll take the Cheat Death, and then in the cube, we'll take Messersmith's Reaver for more cooldown. We'll take Warzeshian Arm Guards for more movement speed. And we'll take Briggs Wrap because it's going to pull everything to us. Corpse Explosion, and bam, everything's going to die. And onto the Paragon points. Max move speed first, then intelligence, and then just put enough into vitality so you can survive. In offense, cooldown, then crit, and then attack speed. In defense, armor, then life, then all resist, then life per second. And in utility, area damage, life on hit, resource cost, then gold find. Alright everyone, let me take you into some footage and let me show you how outrageously powerful this build is. Alright everyone, let's see this build in action. I've got actually a decent amount of Paragon points in this clear. I don't know how many. I just wanted to give it a shot at 120, but it was so easy immediately after I just threw all my Paragons in and tried a 140 and almost cleared this. So let me tell you how this works. So pretty much we're trying to gather stuff up, and it's really not worth to hit about anything unless you can find an elite. So hitting a few spiders there is just not going to get it done. So I'm just pretty much looking for an elite anywhere I can possibly find one. And you Blood Rush around for mobility. You activate your Bone Armor for your survivability. You just run around and you curse everything. Now, right before cold there, you activate Siphon Blood for the Mantle of Channeling. And then you hit land. And then you just spam Corpse Explosion. And you can see we erase the spiders very, very quickly. And pretty much detonated the blues. Now one thing you're going to notice right above my Land of the Dead is a Land of the Dead icon that says 33. When Land of the Dead expires, your next 50 corpse explosions are going to deal much more damage. So I used 17 of those hits to finish off those blues afterwards with the corpses that were just laying on the ground. So my Land of the Dead is coming back. I do not have a Molten Wildebeest Gizzard here, and you can see my survivability is completely fine. In fact, I'm just content here just to let all the monsters wail on me. They can't touch me at all. So it's very, very tanky. So here we go. We're going for the blue here. We activate land, we channel our Siphon Blood, and the blue dies instantly. You can then move to the other trash and get it down. And then we're going to make big movement and look for more elites. That's pretty much all it is. So, no elites, not interested. There's some elites, but we have a lot of time before our land is coming back. So we might as well use that time just to gather everything up. And in the downtime, make sure you're swinging your scythe, cursing everything. That's going to give you more damage and more survivability. And one annoying thing is if a monster has a knockback or a fear, that can really interrupt what you're doing. So that's kind of annoying, but it's just something that the build has to deal with. So our land is going to be up on the next cold, so I activate my bone armor early, and then I swing and channel Siphon Blood, and then I activate land on poison, and goodbye everything. 2 elites down. You can see me laughing there at how powerful this build is. I only fired like 2 corpse explosions and killed everything. So you can see I have a good amount of Paragon points in there, so that's why this 120 is just getting flattened. But believe me, this build is going to be able to clear at least into the mid 140s, maybe even into the upper 140s. It's outrageous. There's actually already a clear on the leaderboards up 145 down with Corpse Explosion. So you factor in the seasonal buff on top of that, and it's going to be ridiculous. So again, I'm just looking for elites. We have a conduit down there. I don't need the conduit. I am the conduit, but I do have Nemesis bracers on, so it's going to give me an extra elite. So I need to try to convince these 2 blues and this yellow to come down to this pylon. I do not have a Flavor of Time. I'm going with the Unity. So we're going to need to try to nem this right before poison, and then do our full rotation, and see if we can hit all 3 elites with this Corpse Explosion so that they all die. So here we go. I've got my buffs up. Here comes poison. Activate. One-shot the yellow instantly, and now we move over to the blues at the top. No problem at all. Killing them immediately. And all the elites are dead. I am the conduit. I don't even need a conduit. So now that we have doubled the bar, life is good. Again, we don't have a Flavor of Time. When you don't have a Flavor of Time, conduits do not last that long. In fact, this one's almost over. So I'm content just to zap these spiders, and let's see what's next. It's a keeps, of course, the worst map in the game, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to look for some elites and blow them up. Here's a Yeti. He's dead. I'm going to murder him once my land comes up. There's another elite. They're dead. Gonna murder him once my land comes up. Feels good to be this strong and this tanky. 2 elites and a bunch of monsters and affixes wailing on me. They have essentially no chance of killing me, and again, you could swap Bane in the Trap for Molten Wildebeest Gizzard and be literally immortal. It's gonna cost you some damage, but anything to stay alive. And the elites are dismissed from class effortlessly. So even on a really bad map like a keeps, as long as you can get an elite or 2 grouped up, you're still going to get major value here. So compared to a lot of other builds, especially since it has Blood Rush and you can jump through walls, and since there is some downtime in when you can damage so you can move anyway, this build probably actually has less fishing than most because of that, and also because it's pretty good on the Guardian. As long as you can round up some elites and any kind of trash, it's going to die. So let's see how we do in this room. We've got Arcane Beams and Orbiter everywhere. It's about as dangerous as it gets, and I'm going to nem another elite in here. So I think we'll be ready for the next poison. So like always, we activate our Bone Armor a bit early. We swing, swing, swing. We take the pylon, and then we channel our Siphon Blood, and then activate land, move to the Oculus Ring. Goodbye. And just like that, they're gone. You can tell the damage goes down a little bit when you don't have any trash, because it is based on area damage. But I have a channeling pylon, so here comes the next land. It's up. Blast him down. There he goes. No problem whatsoever, even in that room. Looks like I missed a little purple grape back there. Don't do that. Pick them all up. Bad necro. And my land is up again already from the channeling pylon. So all I need to do is find an elite, and they're essentially going to be handed a death sentence. There's a yellow up there. Okay, he's nowhere near the trash. So that's a problem. My follower has an S of Johann. Thank you very much, my friend. And the Oculus Ring spawned perfectly, and the yellow erased instantly. As I shake my head, cannot believe how strong this is. So now it's just a formality at this point. I wonder if there are any more elites on this map, but that's pretty much all you do. Look for an elite, swing your scythe. You should be totally fine to survive against anything. When it's in like cold, activate your bone armor. That way they have a chance to recover from the DR from it. Then in physical, after you're done swinging your scythe, channel your siphon blood for a moment, and right when physical hits, activate land and spam corpse explosion. So we're going to show you that rotation one more time here. So in the meantime, just run around, swing your scythe. Now, here comes the land on this cycle. So we activate our bone armor, swing, swing, swing. Channel siphon blood, here comes poison, land, and then corpse explode and move to the Oculus Ring. The elites live there for like 0.4 seconds. We have a speed pylon for the boss. One thing that I was thinking about here is, let me try fighting the boss, whoever it is, without the speed, without nemming the pylon for the area damage, just to see how fast I can kill them. Same strategy as always. You have a lot of time before your land comes back up. Run forward, look for a good spot, and look for elites. Where are the elites? Well, can't find any, so I'm just going to keep running. We have a 5-pack of dogs in a narrow hallway. There are very, very few builds that could ever do anything with this, right? Not this build. I'm perfectly fine to fight right here. The second my land comes up, these dogs are going to be gonzo. We activate our bone armor a bit early. We're in physical. I swing my scythe. I channel siphon blood for a moment. Freeze, and goodbye. Pick up our orbs, and the guardians spawn nowhere near me. So this is a huge waste of time, but I want to see how we can do on this guardian without any help. And who do we have? Hopefully it's a single target boss. That way we don't get any help. It's Hamlin, like the best boss in the game. He's going to spawn 1,000,000 ads, and I'm already excited to see how this is going to go. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Released so many guides for Season 21. I hope these are going to help you pick your favorite class and favorite build and have a lot of fun next season. If you have any questions or comments, like always, just leave them down below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And I'll have the Challenge Rift guides for North America and EU out tomorrow. Do not complete them until the season starts. Here we go, guys. Let's see if Hamlin can take the heat. Here we go, and sayonara, my friend. Corpse explosion for the win.